Alright, welcome everyone to another repair stream. We've got just a board that was sent in to us from Victoria over in Panama. And this one has a no power issue, but they didn't have all the tools to diagnose and make sure that it was just the amplifier board. So I told them I would give them the normal repair rate for just the board if they can send everything in as far as the power supply and logic board, just to make sure that those are also working. So let's get into this. It's probably our amp. And here's our display. Get this opened up. Here's their logic board and their power supply. Alright, so we've got pretty much all of their parts here. We were able to save a little bit on shipping for them to send just the parts in a smaller box, but we weren't sure, you know, without being able to diagnose, we weren't sure if it was totally for sure the amplifier board or if it could be something else. So I had them send all of this in just so we could check and make sure it's all good. I also think they damaged the display. But we'll check that, and if it still works fine, then that will be one less thing to worry about. So let's jump right into the amplifier board here. And I bet you if we take our multimeter here, stick this into continuity test mode, and we test our diode here. I'm sure this diode will be shorted out, and that will be our problem. Yep, our diode is shorted. So we'll get this out of the way. And let's go ahead and pull that diode right off. Get that replaced so we can power this amp board on. And then we'll test it for DC offset and that all their other parts are working. So let's get some flux on that. And let's jump right into it. Here we go. Got that old one off. Let's get our soldering iron warmed up. Pull out ourselves a good new diode. And we'll grab our iron, get that all nice and clean. Put some solder on that new diode. Get it all nice and tinned up. Alright. Put a little more fresh flux on there and we'll put our new diode on. Beautiful. Let's check our work here. Very nice. Let's clean up that blob on the end of the diode here, just to be nice. There we go. Both those pins are nice and solid on there. Those joints look nice and good. Let's clean this up. And then we will power this all up just to make sure all their parts work and just to make sure there's no DC offset on this amp. While we have it, let's see, where's my Q-tips? Here we go. right. Let's get all of their other parts here put together on our test bench and make sure that everything is good to go. Just going to put their power supply in here. Then we can grab a logic cable. Plug that in. Then we should get ourselves a logic board. Oh, actually we're going to test their logic board. Forgot about that. Let's get that out. And I don't see any damage other than the ambient light sensor. And if you accidentally break off the ambient light sensor because you were prying into the wrong layer and you knocked that out, it's not the end of the world. You just lose the automatic brightness. And the display just operates at full brightness whenever it's on. So not the end of the world. Okay, let's get some power into this. And we should also connect our subwoofer so we can check for any DC offset and fix that while we've got it. Let's get our multimeter connected. And put that into DC millivolts. And then last but not least, power. Okay, so their display is not lighting up. Let's unplug the power. And let's try a different display. I've just got my test. Well, actually, first, let's try a different display, and then we'll try a different display cable. Alright, same thing. Do we have any power draw? No, it's not pulling any power either. That's interesting. So let's take my display off. And let's just check their power supply really quick here. I'm going to set our meter back to continuity and test their fuse. Their fuse is good. Is my logic cable here bad? Yeah, this might be a bad logic cable. Let me put another one on here. Okay. Let's try this again. And still no sign of life. Okay. Let's try my logic board. Actually, I'm going to try one of my brick logic boards because I don't want to fry my good logic board if it's killing logic boards. No. Still nothing. Should we try a different power supply? Just for kicks? Or do we start poking around the amplifier board? I think let's try a different power supply first. Let's try my power supply that I know is good. Okay, how about now? My power supply, my logic board, their amp board. Still nothing. Interesting. And there's no power draw at the wall either. Huh. Why don't you power on? Let's try this. Let's plug it all back in. And start taking some measurements around that diode that normally causes no power. Because this diode was definitely shorted, but I wonder if there's more going on here. Let's get some power pumped back into this. Okay, so we're only getting 0.04 volts on the coil. I wonder if our what's it called? TBS 54560. Let's see. Data sheet. Voltage in on pin 2. Pin 2 should have 4.5 to 60 volts. Where is pin 2? Which one is pin 2? Okay, so our power input here is good. What could be going on? What is our malfunction here? Oh, the mini refuses to restore. It just boot loops forever. It doesn't give me the option to restore when I plug it into my Mac. It just flashes orange. And it doesn't factory reset when you plug it into a power brick. So it is the first and only mini I've come across so far that I haven't been able to fix. So right now, what we're looking around for, because we replaced our power diode and this still isn't powering on. And we know it's the amplifier board because we've tried everything else. We replaced our diode, but we're still not getting power. And I wonder if something else over here is dead. Let's see. We are stuck. What is the malfunction here? Let's just for kicks. Let's try replacing that step-down converter. Because I don't have very many other ideas here. Okay. Let's give that a chance to cool down. We've gone ahead and replaced I think this is the step-down converter. We will see if that does the trick. Okay, let's give this another go. Oh, it's working. We fixed it. So I'll give you guys a quick close-up of exactly what we've replaced here. So, right next to the diode is, let me look up what this is. I think this is the step-down converter. This is TPS 54560, 4.5 volt to 60 volt input, 5 amp step down DC to DC converter. So somehow our power diode that normally causes no power issues had died, and after we replaced that we still had no power issues, so we replaced our step down converter right here with another one from a parts board, and now it's powering on. So that's pretty good stuff. I will need to take some notes and put this information on my website, because this is the first time that I've personally come across a no power repair for the amplifier board where it needed more than that diode. So that's interesting. But I'm super happy that we got that all fixed up. So now that we've got their amplifier board powering on, let's take my power supply and logic board off. Let's put their power supply and their logic board and their display all on this and do a whole test just to make sure that all their parts are still working. And also, of course, we need to check for any DC offset on this board now that we've got it powering on. So let's get their power supply back here. Oops, forgot the camera was blurry there. There we go. Okay, their power supply is in. Let's get their display and logic board connected. And while we're at it, we'll get our subwoofer hooked up so we can check for DC offset. Let's connect our multimeter to that woofer. And let's get some power into this and get our final verdict. All right. So their logic board is turning on, their display is lighting up. So we'll just sit tight and wait for that to finish booting up, and we'll check for DC offset. Alright, that finished booting up. So let's watch our meter here on the top right. Alright, so it's awake now, and we've got a wonderful result of 3 millivolts. So anything at or around less than 10 millivolts is good enough for me. Of course, that said, if I see less than 10 millivolts and it gradually grows beyond that, then that would be something that would warrant repairing. But we've got a solid 3 millivolts and holding steady. If we unplug this from power, we hear no popping, so that's good. It would appear that we've got their stuff all fixed up here. Let's get these parts taken off really quick. And we'll go ahead and clean this board up again one more time and get this packed up and sent back home. That's actually it for today's stream. I hope you enjoyed this this new repair that we went through together, and keep an eye out on the website for some close-up photos and details and some more part information for doing this sort of repair. It was interesting to see for the first time the power diode that normally causes the power issues, the Schottky barrier diode. Not only was it shorted out and failed, but the step-down converter next to it had also gone out. So that's interesting. Well, I hope you enjoyed this stream, and I'll catch you in the next one.